My parents kicked me out for getting a job, then tried to ruin my life. I was forced to raise my siblings while my parents neglected their responsibilities. When I finally got a job to build my own future, they kicked me out. What would you do if the people who were supposed to protect and care for you instead treated you like a burden, like free labor, like someone who owed them your entire existence? This is the story of how I was pushed past my breaking point by the very family that should have loved me most. From as far back as I can remember, I was the responsible one. Not because I wanted to be, not because I had earned it, but because it was forced onto me. While my friends played outside after school, I was inside, juggling housework and babysitting younger siblings. My parents never asked if I wanted this role, they simply assumed it was my duty. At first, I didn't question it. I thought maybe this was what every oldest child did. I thought maybe it was normal to rock your baby brother to sleep while your mother disappeared for hours, or to cook simple dinners for the family because your father decided. It built character. But the older I got, the more I realized, no, this wasn't normal. By the time I was 13, I was practically raising my siblings, packing their lunches, helping with homework, breaking up their fights, making sure they brushed their teeth and went to bed on time. My parents weren't absent in the physical sense, they were there. But emotionally, financially, and responsibly, they had checked out. They saw me not as a daughter, but as an extension of themselves. A free babysitter, a maid, someone they could dump the weight of their responsibilities on and then pat themselves on the back for keeping the family together. When I tried to push back, even gently, I was met with scorn. You're selfish. You don't care about your family. Who do you think you are, questioning us? Their words stung, not because I believed them, but because I so desperately wanted their approval. High school made everything harder. While my classmates joined clubs, sports, and part-time jobs, I raced home each day to manage the chaos my parents left behind. There were times I begged to participate in something normal, a school dance, a weekend trip, even just a sleepover. More often than not, my parents shot me down. Who's going to watch the kids? We can't afford a sitter. When I protested, my father's anger would flare. He'd remind me that I lived under their roof, that I ate their food, that I owed them obedience. My mother, meanwhile, would play the martyr, sighing and saying she wished she had someone like me when she was young. It was manipulation through and through. The first real crack in my blind loyalty came sophomore year, when my best friend Emma pulled me aside after school. "You always look exhausted," she said gently. "Why don't you just not do it? Why don't you tell them no?" I laughed bitterly. "You don't get it. If I say no, they'll make me feel like I'm abandoning my siblings. Like I'm a monster." Emma's face hardened. "That's not love. That's control." Her words stuck with me. The final straw came the summer before my senior year. I had been offered a part-time job at a local cafe, a chance to earn my own money, to save for college, to have something of my own. When I told my parents, their reaction wasn't pride. It was fury. "Who's going to take care of your brothers and sisters while you're off playing grown-up?" my father barked. I tried to reason with them. I offered to split my paycheck with them, to schedule shifts around school and chores. But it didn't matter. To them, the idea that I wanted independence was betrayal. That night, my mother told me flatly, "If you take that job, don't bother coming back home." I took the job, and they made good on their threat. One Saturday afternoon, while I was at work, they packed up some of my clothes and left them in a duffel bag on the front porch. When I came home, the locks were changed. I remember standing there, staring at the door, duffel in hand, my siblings' faces peeking sadly from the window. My heart broke, not just for me, but for them. Because I knew, deep down, that they would grow up in the same toxic cycle if someone didn't break it. I called Emma in tears, and without hesitation, she and her mom came to get me. They gave me their couch, then later a guest room. For the first time in years, I felt a shred of safety. But my parents weren't done with me. The calls started immediately. My mother, crying, claiming I had abandoned the family. My father, furious, demanding I return their house key and pay them back for all the years they raised me. I ignored most of it, but one voicemail chilled me to my core. "If you think you can just walk away and pretend you're better than us," my father growled, "you've got another thing coming. You'll regret this." I saved that voicemail. Living with Emma's family was both a relief and an adjustment. Her mom, kind but firm, insisted I focus on school and work. She refused to let me shoulder household responsibilities beyond normal chores. She wanted me to breathe. It felt wrong at first, like I wasn't pulling my weight, like I was failing. But slowly, I began to realize that what Emma's mom offered wasn't laziness. It was normalcy, and I clung to it. Still, my parents' shadow loomed. At school events, they spread rumors that I was ungrateful, that I had run off with bad influences. At church, my mother wept dramatically about her lost daughter, earning sympathy while I was painted as the villain. But the truth was, people were starting to see through them. Teachers noticed how much my grades had improved since leaving home. Emma's mom made sure the school counselor was aware of my situation. For once, adults were on my side, and that terrified my parents. The breaking point came during Thanksgiving. Emma's family invited me to their dinner, and for the first time, I said yes without guilt. We sat around the table, laughing, sharing food, feeling like a real family. Halfway through dessert, my phone buzzed. It was a text from my father. "Ungrateful brat. Everyone knows you abandoned us. Don't bother showing your face here again." My hands shook as I showed Emma's mom the message. She pursed her lips, took my phone, and said calmly, "Save everything. If they keep this up, we'll take it to the authorities." That night, for the first time, I realized I wasn't powerless. But as freeing as that moment was, it also sparked something dangerous. Because when people like my parents feel their control slipping, they don't let go quietly. When people who thrive on control feel that grip slipping, they don't loosen it. They tighten it until someone breaks. My parents weren't about to let me walk away quietly. And what followed was a storm of threats, lies, and manipulation that nearly destroyed me. At first, their attacks came in waves of words. Texts, voicemails, emails. One day it was guilt, the next it was rage. My mother would cry on the phone, sobbing about how much my siblings missed me. My father would follow with venom, calling me selfish, ungrateful, a traitor to the family. At first, I deleted most of it. But Emma's mom told me to save everything. "You'll need proof someday," she said. She was right, because the threats escalated quickly. One evening, I got home from work to find Emma pale, holding my phone. "Your dad called," she said quietly. I picked up before I realized it wasn't a telemarketer. "He said, he knows where you are." I froze. "What else did he say?" Her voice shook. "That he's coming to get you. That you belong at home." Panic set in. The idea of him showing up, dragging me back, locking me in that toxic house, it made my chest tighten. Emma's mom didn't hesitate. She called the police, reported the threat, and demanded extra patrols near the neighborhood. She told me to stay close, to never walk home alone, to keep my phone on me at all times. For weeks, I jumped at every sound outside the window. But my father wasn't the only one lashing out. At school, whispers followed me. My parents had been spreading rumors, telling neighbors, relatives, anyone who would listen, that I was out of control, that I had run away with a boy, that Emma's family had brainwashed me. Some believed them. Others started to see through the lies. Teachers pulled me aside, asking gently if I felt safe. The counselor scheduled regular check-ins. Emma's family's support gave me strength, but the weight of the rumors still crushed me. Because no matter how far I tried to run, my parents' shadow loomed. The situation reached a boiling point during Christmas break. Emma's family hosted a small gathering, just close friends and relatives. I felt lighter that night than I had in months. I laughed. I ate too much dessert. I let myself feel normal. Then my phone buzzed. It was a message from my mother. "We're outside. Come out now, or we're calling the police." My blood went cold. Emma's mom acted fast. She locked the doors, told everyone to stay calm, and called the authorities. By the time the police arrived, my parents' car was gone. But the damage was done. I realized that night, they weren't going to stop. A few days later, my father left a voicemail that chilled me to my core. "You think you're better than us? You think those people will protect you? They won't. Blood is blood. You'll always be ours. If you don't come back willingly, we'll make sure you regret it." I saved it, played it for the counselor, handed it to Emma's mom. For the first time, I heard her voice crack with anger. This isn't just control anymore. This is harassment. This is dangerous. Meanwhile, my siblings started reaching out in secret. My little sister Emma, yes, the same name as my best friend, messaged me from an iPad. "Why don't you come home anymore? Mom says you hate us." "Is that true?" I broke down crying. I explained the truth as gently as I could, that I loved her, that I always would, but that I couldn't live there anymore, that I wasn't safe. She didn't understand fully. How could she? She was only 10, but she told me she missed me, that she wished things were different. Her words nearly shattered my resolve, but they also reminded me I wasn't crazy. I wasn't imagining it. What my parents did was real. The turning point came one icy January evening. I was walking home from the cafe when headlights slowed beside me. My stomach dropped. It was my parents' car. My father rolled down the window. "Get in," he barked. I froze. People streamed past on the sidewalk, oblivious. My heart pounded. "Get in the car, now," he repeated. My mother leaned over from the passenger seat, her face twisted with fury. I shook my head, backing away. "Fine," my father growled. "You want to play this game? We'll see how long those people keep you. We'll see how long until you come crawling back." Then they sped off, tires screeching. I ran the rest of the way to Emma's house, lungs burning. When I burst through the door, shaking, Emma's mom pulled me into a hug. Then she said firmly, "This ends now. We're getting legal protection." The next day, she helped me file for a restraining order. The process was grueling. Statements, evidence, recounting every voicemail and threat, but I had proof. And for once, I felt like the law was on my side. My parents were served papers a week later. Their response was explosive. Angry calls from relatives flooded in. My mother sobbed to anyone who would listen that I had turned the law against my own family. My father ranted about betrayal, about how I had no respect for blood. But the order stood. And for the first time in years, I felt a sliver of safety. That safety, however, came at a cost. Because when my parents realized intimidation no longer worked, they changed tactics. If they couldn't control me directly, they would poison everyone around me. When abusers lose control, they don't always stop. They change the battlefield. My parents couldn't drag me back physically, so they tried to destroy me socially. But in the end, the very lies they spread became my proof of freedom. After the restraining order, things calmed for a few weeks. No more late-night threats. No car outside Emma's house. No sudden phone calls. I let myself breathe. But peace didn't last. Word began to trickle back to me. My parents were on a new mission. Since they couldn't control me directly, they decided to control the narrative. At church, my mother wept dramatically about her ungrateful daughter, claiming Emma's family had kidnapped me, turned me against my blood. She told relatives I was living in sin, wasting money, failing school. My father painted me as a runaway, a liar, a disgrace. Some believed them. I saw it in the way certain relatives stopped answering my texts, how old friends avoided me in the hallway. But others didn't buy it. My counselor knew the truth. Teachers saw my grades rising, my attendance perfect, my work ethic undeniable. Emma's family stood proudly by me, never once wavering. Still, it hurt. Being smeared by the people who should have been my biggest supporters, it cut deeper than any stranger's opinion ever could. The smear campaign intensified during prom season. I had been nominated for a leadership award at school, something that recognized not just academics, but resilience. My parents found out. That week, social media exploded with posts from anonymous accounts accusing me of being manipulative, untrustworthy, immoral. The language was familiar. Too familiar. I knew it was them. I almost pulled out of the award ceremony, terrified of whispers, of judgment. But Emma's mom wouldn't let me. She looked me in the eyes and said, "You've earned this. Don't you dare let their lies steal it from you." So I went. When my name was called, when the applause rang out, when I walked on stage and accepted that certificate, I felt something shift. For the first time, I wasn't the scared, guilty child they wanted me to be. I was my own person, and I wasn't going back. Graduation came soon after. My grandparents, who had stayed mostly quiet during the chaos, showed up that day, sitting in the front row with Emma's family. They hugged me tightly, whispered that they were proud, that they were sorry they hadn't stepped in sooner. My parents were nowhere to be seen. Part of me mourned that. Another part felt relieved, because the truth was, their absence wasn't a loss. It was a gift. I thought that was the end. But life had one final test in store. 2 weeks before I left for college, I stopped at a cafe downtown with Emma. As we walked out, I froze. Sitting at a corner table were my parents. My father noticed me first. His face darkened, but he didn't move. My mother's eyes filled with tears. For a long moment, none of us spoke. Finally, she whispered, "You look good." I nodded, said nothing. She opened her mouth, maybe to apologize, maybe to manipulate, I'll never know. But I cut her off. "I'm not coming back." Her face crumpled. My father muttered something under his breath, but neither of them stood up. I walked away, and with every step, the weight on my shoulders grew lighter. College was a fresh start. New city, new friends, new chances. At first, I carried my past like a scar, afraid it defined me. But slowly, I realized it didn't. I wasn't the girl forced to raise her siblings anymore. I wasn't the scapegoat of my parents' failures. I wasn't their victim. I was me. Final reflection. People like my parents thrive on control. They twist love into obligation, guilt into chains. But the truth I learned, the truth I carry still, is this: love is not control. Family is not ownership. Walking away didn't make me selfish. It made me free. And though part of me will always ache for the siblings I left behind, I know I showed them something important. That it's possible to break the cycle. That life outside manipulation exists. My story isn't one of loss. It's one of survival. Of choosing myself when no one else would. Of turning pain into power. And if you take anything from it, let it be this: you are allowed to walk away from people who hurt you, even if they are family.